Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Kaiserreich. The almighty Don Host has been defeated. We are ever closer to the Russian bear, though they are currently in a civil war, which, we'll see how that works out for them. Could be, who knows? I kind of hope the Far Eastern Republic of Transmur wins, because they're currently at war with Japan, and that would be funny. Oh my god. Okay. Okay. The crossroads of Arras. The mountains of Nakhchivan, long isolated from the rest of Azerbaijan, have always been a land of rugged independence. I think we're talking about this territory down here. Like here? Yeah. Anyways, once the seat of the short-lived Republic of Arras under Jafargulu Khan Nakhchivansky, the region is now fully reintegrated in the Azerbaijani state, yet echoes of past autonomy linger. Local notables and former officers still wield influence, and the people remember the hardships of border life. Recent reports speak of renewed raids by Armenian insurgents, spilling over into the Karabakh into the southern passes. Villages near Orubad and Sharur are on edge, and merchants report disrupted trade. The Ministry of Interior warns that while the army is stretched thin in Karabakh, unrest in Nakhchivan could spark wider discontent. Meanwhile, whispers suggest that Ottoman advisors stationed in the region are pressing for more assertive military presence, fearing any instability could threaten their interests. Deploy regular troops and fortify the passes. Great. Tories elected in Canada. The right-wing and exile-friendly Conservative Party of Canada has come out on top in Canada's most recent election. Unseating the Liberals after barely a year in power, the scene is correcting the wrongs of 1935, when Liberals won a narrow majority and broke an almost 10-year Conservative winning streak. Now in power, the Conservatives have promised to strengthen relations with the King and use harsh measures to suppress any would-be syndicalists who wish to infiltrate Canada. While the Liberals and CCF promised to protest their more pro-exile moves, the fact that they hold the majority in Parliament, as well as the backing of the House of Lords and the King, means they will have little difficulty implementing their agenda. I'm sure the King will be happy. The creation of the International Avant-Garde. A combined effort by the Commune of France and the Union of Britain a few days ago has birthed the International Avant-Garde, a program that aims to create a united art style for art and genre music, as well as some new literary techniques, each of them encouraged to be socialist, unorthodox, anti-traditionalist, and anti-religious. It's reported that artists, writers, and musicians from around the world participate in the program, from the United States, South Africa, to Canada, to Japan. The first festival to show off the fruits of the program is planned to happen within 2 years at Cannes. Is this the dawn? That's not Cannes. That's Cannes. Cannes. Is it Cannes? I know this is the film festival place. I don't know how it's pronounced. Is this the dawn of new syndicalist entertainment? Truly curious. Who knows? East Turkestan declared war on the Jinjan clique. What a surprise. Anyways. More army experience gains, probably just like good to have in the short term. Rivne uprising. After years of intense suppression of the workers and peasants movement in Ukraine by the Hetman and conservative organizations, exiled Republican forces were able to effectively organize action on the kingdom's western frontiers. Under the leadership of Otoman Petlura, the militia seized Rivne, where they were able to establish a provisional capital, and throughout the country, workers and peasants took up arms to overthrow the bourgeois power they hated. Whether the Directorum will be able to seize power in Kiev and declare a restoration of the People's Republic remains to be seen. A serious drift of affairs. Oh boy! Indo-Chinese Union is capitulated. RIP. R.I.P. Pozo. The Indo-Chinese Revolution is defeated. Despite ferocious guerrilla warfare from Viet Minh troops, the German army has managed to thwart the Viet Minh revolt in Indochina. The leaders of the Indo-Chinese Union, hiding in the plain of reeds after the central government evacuated from Saigon, are assumed dead after German troops launched a thorough sweep. However, there are also rumors of Viet Minh leaders crossing the border and fleeing to other countries. Whatever may be the case, the war has left an indelible scar in the land, with thousands of villages ruined, millions losing their homes in the vicious fight between German troops and Viet Minh guerrillas, as expected. Okay. So these are some pretty sick bonuses. One random agency upgrade. Okay. Seems fun. I am going to establish the HHQ. Maritime investments. Okay. For too long, the defense of Azerbaijan has depended solely on its soldiers and guns. The skies above our land remain empty, vulnerable. To correct this, the Herbi Heva Kurveli shall be established under the War Ministry. Its first task will be to lay the foundations of an independent air arm capable of reconnaissance, defense, and one day deterrence. The Republic must be able to claim its place among nations that rule the air. Seems bad. Bill Haywood, elected president of the USA. Despite the massive instability rampant in the nation ever since the Great Depression in 1925, the presidential elections went forward and the voting results are clear. Bill Haywood of the Socialist Party of America is the 31st president of the United States. Bill Haywood turned into a savvy political operator during his time in Russia and is a dedicated proponent of syndicalism. This stance has made him many enemies in American society, but the Association of Trade Unions that he leads remains strong. The AFP already contests the election results, though. Let's see what this jumped-up trade unionist can do. Oh boy, things continue to get ugly. Well, still in 36. Do I want Rangers? Don't you know? I guess. Like, what's the point? Radio is probably good. It'd probably be good to get radio at some point. Let's get mechanical computing. Actually, that seems smart. Syndicalism spreads to Burma. Following a series string of poor decisions by the Burmese government, culminating in order to the Royal Burmese Army to open fire on protesting students and workers, the entire country turned against the royalty. The newly founded National Council is now forming a new syndicalist government and is reportedly already considering looking outwards for strong, like-minded allies. Country after country, the revolution progresses. Or, fails to progress in Indochina's case, but whatever. Dispersed industry. Radio. Malta is back in the Reichspakt. Lol. Okay. HHQ has been completed. Democratic Socialist victory in Brazil. Democracy in Brazil was rocked by the results of the general election. The Brazilian Socialist Party, an extremely large tent alliance of center-left and leftist parties, united by a common platform of sweeping workers' rights reform, has won general elections in Brazil. A surprising result to many observers. Others claim the wide appeal and clear goals of the coalition gave it a broader base than its opponents. Now, João Mangabeira, curiously the brother of current President Otávio Mangabeira, will take office in January. He has perhaps the impossible task of keeping a coalition that's everything from social liberals to maximalists from tearing itself apart, as he has to manage this marriage of convenience while making the reforms that got him elected a palpable reality. Dancing with syndicalists. It's a dangerous move. Let me just get equipment procurement. No army flies without machines. No air force can exist without engines. Through foreign conflicts and industrial partnerships, HHQ will procure its first modern aircraft. Each new plane that takes off from Azerbaijani soil marks a milestone towards independence in the air. I'm gonna launch that raid. Not that it hugely matters. Hey. Shadows over Shusha. At dawn, Armenian insurgents under Garigin Nizde launch a daring raid on Shusha's outlying villages. Homes are burned, livestock stolen, and Azerbaijan militiamen caught off guard. Smoke rises from the hills as frightened villagers flee towards the city. In Baku, news of the attack sparks outrage. Opposition from the Kiryat and Ittihad demand decisive retaliation, while liberals argue for restraint and diplomacy. The raid exposes weakness in border defenses and threatens to escalate the simmering conflict into full-scale war. We should send in negotiators and offer amnesty for surrendering insurgents. That seems smart. Though at this point we are looking at... What the heck?
Ruslan?
You said it. think that technically covers that.
Hazırım. Ferage.
Yep. Yep. Anyways. Oh boy. Mustafa Kemal seizes power. Fed up by the constant bickering in the Ottoman Chamber of Deputies and hindered by the conservative and often royalist opposition, the Grand Vizier has used recent domestic events to centralize power around the position of the Grand Vizier. The Maintenance of Public Order decree, issued in times of great crisis, has already led to the creation of various tribunals to sentence the enemies of the state and safeguard the Ottoman state. Although many question the true motives of the man, it's clear that he enjoys nigh full support by the military apparatus, greatly limiting the chances of a successful counter-coup. Is this a return to 1913? Okay, the Soldier Prince saves Afghanistan. Arriving in Afghanistan in the weeks following the nation's descent into chaos, the famous Soldier Prince, Mohammed Nadir Khan, had returned to free the nation from the clutches of the bandit king, Habibullah Kalakani. The prince was able to quickly forge an alliance with anti-Sakawist tribes to put an end to the bandit king's tyranny. While the prince's forces were equally matched in early stages of the campaign, a diplomatic isolation of Kalakani's emirate and a series of irrecoverable losses caused the collapse of Kalakani's bandit army. Nadir Khan's arrival in Kabul was met with celebration, and an assembly of local elites elected Nadir Khan to become the next emir, a position he initially refused, but graciously accepted. The months following Kalakani's takeover of Kabul have left untold amounts of death and destruction throughout the nation, and a victorious emir must work diligently if he bring Afghanistan back from the brink. Stability finally returns to Afghanistan. Is there a way to get XP from this? Yeah, probably want branch independent spirit then. Because it gives air XP. Ma Click declared war in Tibet. Eid ul Fitr. Today is the first day of Eid ul Fitr, and all Muslims are celebrating the end of Ramadan. Eid Mubarak. I remember that event from when we played Bukhara. Probably should have rallied public support. Anyways, we are going to go to early mobilization, finally. Okay. Okay. The German ultimatum. After months of intermittent clashes, raids, and sabotage, Germany issues a formal demand. Azerbaijan must immediately cease military operations in Karabakh. Their economic strategic interests, especially the pipelines and oil fields, cannot risk further disruption. Berlin hints that failure to comply could lead to sanctions, withdrawal of investments, or even intervention. Comply fully with German demands, which would not be good. We could try to negotiate better terms of the armistice, or refuse the German ultimatum outright. I think it's probably better to try to negotiate better terms. They might tell me to go screw. Oh, okay, they just accepted. Germany has accepted our terms. Germany's notified they agreed to our counterproposals. Okay. Alright. Sure. So, German intervention has intervened. Let's see, what do we got? Aftermath. Well, removed in 1940. But it is only -5 stability. That's actually not that big of a debuff. We have better Caucasian oil hub. We have better German investments. Not that we necessarily are intending to keep that, but whatever. They don't need to worry about that. Italian democracy survives. After many months of terrorist attacks by the ANI, rocked the Republic of Italy and caused many within the nation to doubt the government's ability to maintain order, a vote of no confidence was held in Milan today. If passed, many feared it would have signaled the Republic's collapse. By the narrowest of margins, the motion was defeated, and Prime Minister Luigi Einaudi has announced from the steps of the government building that democracy in Italy has survived its greatest challenge, the Republic will live on. So it would seem. Okay, more party time. Oh yeah, I have more army stuff now. Yeah, I can just do that. The Indonesian National Revolution. We can do stuff. Whoop! I didn't read it. Indonesian National Revolution, another blow to powers. Whoops, I missed that. Conscription crisis in Quebec. French-speaking Canadians have long opposed conscription, viewing the idea of fighting wars on behalf of the British as offensive. Now, the Canadian government has enacted full conscription across the country. The response to the French-speaking province of Quebec has been swift. French Canadians have taken to the streets in massive, crippling protests. It's a reenactment of the conscription crisis of 1917. There are a lot of Kaiserredux events that are reenactments of World War I stuff. I mean, if like that's the complaint, right? About the problem. That is the complaint about the problem with like this game, at least the early stuff. And one of the reasons why I think that, despite problems, I kind of prefer Kaiserreich to Kaiserredux is Kaiserredux stuff tends to fall into two categories. Number one, whoa, goofy stuff, horsey pirate king. And two, it's World War I again. Anyways, this is still in Kaiserreich. So I guess, I guess that's also my complaint about Kaiserreich. Anyways, French Canadians with lesser patience again and again are called upon to shed French blood in behalf of English wars. Quebec Premier Maurice Duplessis told an angry crowd in Quebec City, "We say no," and they tell us we must. Quebec will never be free of English tyranny as long as it's a lapdog to English politicians. More troubles in Canada, it seems. Let's click a button. So we have decided to go. We are not nationalizing. We're going to resume the oil treaty. We're not nationalizing no oil. We would have had told them to. We have had to told them to go screw. German stuff. German plants, ordnance plants investments. The Reich's military-industrial reforms propose an ambitious plan: the establishment of joint ordnance plants near Ganja and Sumgait with partial German ownership and Azerbaijani labor. In return, Berlin offers technical expertise, munitions, and employment of thousands. The army hungers for weapons, and the treasury for investment. Sure. I'll take free guns. Guns are good for me. Did I build something? I feel like I want to just do that, right? Oh my gosh, you're kidding me. The Baku tram dispute. The Municipal Council of Baku has allowed plans to modernize the tram network, raising fares to cover maintenance. Workers complain of unfair pricing, while merchants warn that higher transport costs will hurt trade. Street debates turn heated, and petitions flood the Mabusan. We could subsidize the fares for workers and students. Modernize first. All costs are borne equally by all citizens. Let local merchants manage private lines. Let's see. Think we should subsidize fares for all workers and students? Anyways. Serbia crowns King Alexander II. Since the end of the Austrian occupation during the 1920s, Serbia has officially been a kingdom. They never dared to crown a king, as has been forced to keep a low profile in light of the further Austrian aggression. Petar Božović, the regent of Serbia for almost 2 decades and a known royalist, has now decided to restore the monarchy. Alexander II, son of former King Peter I, has accepted the crown and is today crowned as King of Serbia. This controversial move is likely to upset the Austrian and Bulgarian governments. Regent or king, what's the difference? True. Interesting. Moscow appears to have been fallen, but the fall of Vladivostok. The city of Vladivostok, the seat of the Far Eastern Republic of Transylvania, has been captured by Japanese forces. Rising to the prominence as the home of the Russian Pacific Fleet during the Russian Civil War, the city became the seat of power for distant Admiral Kolchak. Admiral Alexander Kolchak. Though much has changed since Kolchak first took the city during the war, the state he established from Vladivostok has held on to the modern day. With the capture of the city, however, the state's position has become extremely precarious. The far eastern Republic of Transmur has all but lost Pacific Russia. Though they do have Irkutsk. I do not think that the Russian Soviet Republic stands much of a chance. But with that, I'm going to have to call it, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye-bye.